HTML has all the elements needed to build an online form, but it's not capable of processing the data once the form has been submitted. For that, you need to use a server-side language such as PHP. The aim of this chapter is to build an order confirmation page for the Hansel and Petal website. But before embarking on that script, you need to know how to retrieve the data submitted by a form. This page contains a simple web form with a text input field, a number input field, a select menu, a submit button, and a hidden field. The opening form tag, the method attribute is set to post, which means the data will be transmitted to the server in the HTTP headers when the form is submitted for processing. The opening form tag in this page doesn't have an action attribute, which means the page will simply reload when the submit button is clicked. So we'll use that to inspect the data that is sent by the form. When the server receives a request for a page, PHP automatically creates an array called post that contains any data submitted to the page by the post method. It's an associative array that uses the name attributes of the form input elements as the array keys. Now let's see what the name of the submit button is. It's order. So we can use that as the condition to test whether the form has been submitted, because post order will only exist if the form has been submitted. So let's create some code down at the bottom of the page after the form. We're going to inspect an array, so we need some pre-tags so that it's formatted correctly so we can see it nicely. So a pair of pre-tags there. And between those pre-tags we need a PHP code block. And we need some decision making, so we need if, and for the condition we'll use the isSet function, which checks whether a variable has been set. So isSet, and then it's the post array. Post is $_ POST, all in capital letters, and then the array key in brackets will be order. That's the name of the submit button. So if that has been set, we know that the form has been submitted. And we need a pair of curly braces for the code block for that if statement. And inside there, we'll use the print _r function to display the contents of the post array. So that's $_ and then all in caps POST. So after saving the page, we can view it in a browser. And the address will be localhost /exercises/chapter05/05_01, and then the name of the page was post.php. And there is our page. If I enter something in the text field, I'll just put my name in there, choose a new number and a different color, and then click the order button, submit button. And if we just zoom in a little, we can see the post array has been printed out down here. Text field, that's the name of the text field, David. Quantity was the name of the number field. Color was the name of the select menu. Order, that's the name of the submit button, and it shows you the value of the submit button, which is order in this case. And also we've got price, which was the hidden field, and its value 3. I'm going to resubmit the form without setting anything in it. And the important thing to notice here is the text field is still there even though it's got no value. So all of the array elements exist even if nothing is entered in a particular field. So when a form is submitted using the post method, all the input data is stored in the post array. This is one of several arrays known as a PHP superglobal. As you progress through this chapter, you'll work with this and a couple of other superglobal arrays. The name simply means that the arrays are formed automatically whenever a page is requested. In the post array, the name attribute of each input element is used as the array key, making it easy to retrieve the submitted data. There are two methods of submitting a form. The post method, as you've already seen, transmits the input data in the background with the HTTP headers. The get method, on the other hand, adds the input data as a series of name-value pairs in a query string at the end of the URL. This page contains a simple search form, an input field with the name search term, and the submit button with the name search. So let's see how the query string is created in the browser. So we need to go to the correct page. We're in the 0502 folder, and the name of the page is get.php. There's our form. Let's search for some flowers. Let's try for some daisies. And click search. And the page has reloaded, and the URL now has a query string. It's that question mark followed by search term, which is the name of the search field, and the value that was inserted in it equals daisies, ampersand search equals search. That's the name of the submit button and also the value that's displayed on the submit button. So if I search for a different type of flower, let's say we search for some orchids and submit search, search term changes to orchids. So how do you get the values out of a query string? Well, let's go back to our editing program. PHP automatically creates an associative array called get, which uses the name attribute as the key for each array element of a form that has been submitted using the get method. So let's display our search term in the page. And after the form, we need to add a PHP code block first. We need to make sure that get search term has been set, because if we try to display it, if it hasn't been set, we'll get an error message. So we need an if statement, and the condition will be using the isSet function. And we're looking for get, which is $_get, all in capitals, it's case sensitive. And then the array element that we're looking for is search term. And then we need an opening curly brace. And then I'm going to close my PHP block there. And I'm going to add a paragraph. And we'll say, you searched for. And then another opening PHP tag. And we'll echo that value. So we're echoing the get array. And the element we're looking for is search term. And then we'll have a period and a closing paragraph tag. And then, of course, we need to close that if statement. We need another PHP block just for the closing curly brace. Save that page. Go back to the browser. And this time I'm going to put in, what should we look for this time? Daffodils, shall we? And click search. You search for daffodils. And if I leave the field empty and click search, you searched for blank. That's an important thing to notice, that the variable is set even if the search field is empty. So the get array is another of PHP's superglobal arrays that are automatically formed whenever a page is requested. It stores the name value pairs appended to the end of the URL in a query string. The name is used as the array key. In this example, we used a search form submitted by the get method, but as you'll see in the next chapter, the get array can also be used to extract the values from any query string. The Build a Bouquet page in the Hansel and Petal website contains a complex online form that invites customers to select flowers to create a custom bouquet. Some flowers, like calla lilies, have a select drop-down menu with a choice of colours, and when you change the colour, the image changes. And you can update the quantity. Let's have 3 calla lilies and let's say 3 sunflowers. And at the bottom of the page, the amount has been updated. All of this is controlled by JavaScript. And when the customer has finished selecting flowers, clicking the Add to Basket button loads order.php, where the details of the order need to be displayed. At the moment, the page consists of hard-coded HTML. So let's see what the challenge is. Let's take a sneak peek at the final version of the site. So here we are in the Build a Bouquet page. I'm going to select some yellow colour lilies. Let's say have 3 of those, and we'll have 4 sunflowers maybe, and a few irises. And it tells me at the bottom of the page here I've selected 10 flowers and $27. When I click Add to Basket, I'm displaying only those that I've selected, the quantity, the cost, and I've also worked out the shipping. That's what we're going to have to do. Now, to make this part of displaying the images easier, we're using the same images but just changing the width and height attributes in the HTML to scale them down. But the other requirements of this page are that it should show only flowers that have been selected, and it needs to calculate the total cost and add a shipping fee of $10 if the order comes to less than $75. It sounds like a lot of work, but you can achieve most of it with the techniques I've shown you so far using if-else statements and arrays. You'll also need to do some string manipulation and calculations. I don't expect you to work out all the code yourself. The challenge is to plan how to tackle this project. Break it down into simple tasks. Look at the HTML code, see what's there in the HTML code. And even if you don't know how to implement a particular task, think about what needs to be done. Don't agonize too long over this. Spend maybe 10 or 15 minutes to jot down a few ideas. And in the next video, I'll tell you the approach I'm going to use. The challenge was to devise a plan for handling the data submitted by the Build a Bouquet page so that the details of the order are displayed correctly in the order confirmation page. This is the way it will work in the final version. So if I change colour lilies from blush to purple and add 3 of those, and let's have, say, 3 sunflowers and some gerbera daisies, orange. My colour coordination may not be perfect, but never mind. And then add to basket. And all that will be displayed here are those items that have been ordered. The quantity, the cost, the shipping, and the total. So that's the ultimate aim. The first stage in dealing with any form is to find out what sort of data it submits. So let's go to our editing program. There's bouquet.php. And I've scrolled it down to the bottom. There is the submit button. The name of the submit button on line 247 is bouquet. So we can use that knowledge to find out what is being submitted from the form when we go to order.php. So let's open that page, and then above the doc type, we'll create a PHP block. And what we need to do is to find out if the form has been submitted. So we'll need an if statement. So if is set, and it's being submitted by the post method. So we look in the post array for post, and the key is bouquet, and then some curly braces for our block there. So if the form has been submitted, post bouquet will have been set. And so what we can do is we can display the contents of the post array. So I'm going to do echo pre, then print r to display the contents of the array, and it's the post array that we want to look at. And then we'll have a closing pre tag as well. So it's all displayed in a way that's easy for us to read. Right, save that. Now this is going to come above the doc type. It doesn't really matter because all we're doing is for testing purposes. So let's look at bouquet. We need to go back to our working copy in the Hansel and Petal folder and select a couple of items. It doesn't matter how much we select. Then go down to the Add a Basket. And we've now got this massive array which is being displayed here. Now, if you look through the array, there's a distinct pattern of names in the keys. We start off, let's just zoom in a little so we can see it better. We start off with color underscore, then quantity underscore, cost underscore, quantity underscore, cost underscore. Each set begins with color, quantity, cost, and then the name of the flowers. So that very distinct pattern of names gives us a way of working with the data. Where there's a choice of colors, as there is with color lilies, the key begins with color underscore, and the value is the name of the image minus the file name extension. What's more, the color is embedded in the file name, and it's always preceded and followed by an underscore, and it's always the third part of the file name. Every type of flower has a key that begins with QTY underscore, and if the flower isn't selected, the quantity is 0. For example, with sunflowers, the quantity is 0. There's also a cost underscore key for each flower, and when a flower doesn't come in a choice of colors, it has a key that begins with image underscore. So the solution is to build 3 associative arrays from the form data, one each for color, quantity, and image. Because the existing key names follow a common pattern, it's easy to do that by identifying keys prefixed with color underscore, stripping off the prefix, and using the flower name that remains as the new key for the colors array. Do the same with quantity underscore and image underscore. Now, why not do it for cost, you might ask? Well, that's because someone could spoof the original form and submit lower costs. So the prices array needs to be hard-coded into order.php. Once you have the new arrays, all that's going to be necessary is a loop to display the details of the order that's been submitted. There's a lot of work to do, but that's the plan. Let's start putting it into action.